So let's go into this reading here. So first of all, many of you are shifting work into like a different avenue. You are looking around for other options, scoping around for other options. What I'm feeling is this. This is a main job. This is kind of like a financial offer, a contract, something that is like 9 to 5, okay? Usually when it's like the Page of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, even the Queen of Pentacles, and also the King of Pentacles. It's usually a work offer and work in a very, predictable, in a very normal manner. It's like a regular 9 to 5 job where you have other people that you're answering to. You have a supervisor above you, like the standard work environment. I feel like you have a job offer or you have something in the works where the income is not that great. You're not there because of the work. You're there because of the work. You're not there so much because of the financial windfall that you're getting from the job. And so it's like a dwindling avenue for you to get all your financial needs met. So I feel like many of you have a job. It pays well, it pays okay, and you're okay doing it, but you are really thinking about how you can expand into creating another revenue stream. How can you make your talents, your creativity work for you? How can you branch out and have 2 jobs and manage both of these 2 jobs successfully? And I feel like your ambitions, your skills are taking you to a different path. This is a card greatly about creativity. It's somebody with a lot of creative talents. Geminis, you have a lot of creativity. Many of you have multiple talents. And because you're so talented across the board, it's like, the jack of all trades. And as a result of it, it's really hard for you to hone in on one particular thing that you want to cultivate the skills in, that you want to make a lifelong career. So many of you, needless to say, I feel like many of you already have like multiple side gigs, multiple jobs, multiple professions that you're looking at, multiple degrees, multiple certificates, multiple diplomas. So it's like you're very well rounded and very, very creative. So you're hoping to turn some type of a creative, like a creative avenue or a creative job that you're doing on the side. And you're hoping to be fully self-employed and or self-sufficient for the long run. So this gateway month, I feel like what it does is that it forces you to think about long term. Where do I want to be 10 years from now when I retire? How much money will I save up? So I feel like you are being a lot more like a Virgo, where you sit down, itemize how much you're going to be making every year, how much is going towards taxes, how much is going towards retirement, how much is going towards, the IRA, your IRA accounts, savings account, bank account, pension, all of these things. You're thinking about self-employment because this card is, somebody that is making their money work for them. Investment opportunities, diversifying your portfolios, hiring an investment agent, for example, an investor to help you manage your investment portfolio, and turning a revenue stream or turning a creative outlet or creative skill that you have into self-employment opportunities that will set you up really well for long-term, financial stability. We're talking like into retirement age. Many of you, even if you're young, I feel like this is a major shakeup type of a year where you have kind of confronted issues with where can I, like I need to get serious. Where can I apply my skills the best? Where can I find the most emotional satisfaction in the work that I'm doing? Where do my skills match up exactly with the type of work that, can give me that financial stability? So I feel like you're not, you have gone through, and actually, I feel like a lot of you are very serious minded about, okay, I can't really bum around anymore. I'm getting older. I'm not getting any younger. My health, my physical stamina is somewhat diminishing. I need to be very serious about where I need to retire, where I'm going to live, and realistically, I need to get myself into a job that will allow me to have, the financial stability that I want. And so I feel like the majority of 2017 up until this point, the majority of 2017, you had a job And the job itself, it might not pay entirely well, but I feel like it's stable and you're not 100% happy with it. You feel like you could do more. And so that's why you're diversifying into, second sources of income, diversifying your portfolio, diversifying into possibly holding down two jobs so that you can achieve this financial abundance. Um, I feel for many of you, some of the areas that you definitely should look into. This is a card here that indicates some type of a healing profession, okay? This is a healer. This is somebody who has like shamanistic tendencies, who is also quite possibly very, very spiritual in nature, but I also feel like it can deal heavily with modern medicine, traditional medicine, some type of a healing profession. It might not be mainstream with the star in the reverse position, but what I feel happening is if you are looking and you're trying to think like, okay, what else can I do to increase my income? What else should I study? What else really interests me? Look into some type of esoteric teaching. It could be psychology. It could be, nursing as well. I feel like the healing profession is where you are going to be able to tap into a lot more hidden talents. You have a lot of creative skills, but I feel like, a lot of the time, this is something that Capricorns and I feel Virgos, they understand on a very deep, profound level. Aquarius too, but Aquarius, it's a little bit different. So let me just talk about this. I feel like Capricorn and Virgos, they encounter blockages if they start working for themselves. So that means they're, very hard worker. They're very talented. They're very reliable. But I feel like unless the work that they do, there's an element of service associated with it, unless they're working to better humanity in some way, either through mentorship, through service, through self-sacrifice, through, getting through those rough, long hour work days in order to help others. That's where they really thrive. And when they find themselves in those positions, they start to feel, very prosperous. All of a sudden, they get promoted really fast. And then I also feel for many of them, it brings them this sense of emotional satisfaction. And so when you really love the work that you do, that's when prosperity will be magnetized towards you. So I feel like this concept is something that Virgos and Capricorns understand on a very deep level. But I feel for you, Gemini, and also Aquarius, also Libra, but not so much Libra, you and Aquarius, you tend to do things that you like. You don't really care about money, like you're not a shallow, superficial, and materialistic sign. And I feel like you tend to do something if you feel like, hey, that's a really interesting intellectual challenge. Or, hey, I wonder how that works. Let me do some digging. Let me research to understand it, to understand how it works. Unless there is an element of intellectual stimulation, curiosity, like unless there's an element of that, you might not want to do it. And so I feel like for many of you, life has been about collecting new experiences, experiencing new things, seeing new things, learning new things. But in the process of collecting all of these experiences, you become, like that jack of all trade, and your knowledge, your skills, and your expertise. With this Page of Swords energy, it's a very young energy. It's not developed knowledge. It's knowledge that needs to be strengthened and deepened and, it needs to be cultivated. It's still in the very beginning stages. So you're kind of selling yourself short if the knowledge seems to be, from a place where it doesn't have enough depth to it, where you can't really pass everything on to the other person. So I had a Virgoan teacher, and she said, you can't really, like, you don't understand something like innately, you don't understand something until you can teach it. So that's what I feel is happening. Until you can become either the Queen of Swords or the King of Swords, where you understand all the ins and outs, you understand all the legal channels, or, the back and forth, all the loopholes, all the plot holes within a specific idea or concept, and you can anticipate questions that people are gonna ask and you can anticipate things that people are going to say to either refute or agree with a specific idea. That means you don't know something in depth. And as a result of that, what that does is you might be around collecting experiences, but when it boils down to, having a clear, deep rooted understanding of it, I feel like you're still a little bit short here. So this card heavily deals with communication. It heavily deals with, our mental processes. Is it strong enough? Is it firm enough? Is the foundation established well enough so that it can sustain the test of time? Or are we just, flipping in the wind? Are we changeable? Are we moving with the tides? And, I believe, yeah, as a mutable sign, it's really important for you to understand that it's okay to change, but once we change too often, we start to lose our sense of identity, right? And so it's really important for you to, keep this in mind, and it's important for you to try to deepen and strengthen these knowledge base, because I feel like as of this point, you pick up something and you read through it very briefly and you start to get bored. This is a card, once again, like boredom, not knowing something in depth, having all of these things that are God-given talents, but you find yourself kind of like, oh, what else is new? I want to find something new. So rather than making things, like an intellectual discovery, there's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like in some way, we also have to think about the humanitarian, like, application of our knowledge. Can we apply our knowledge to help others? Can we apply our knowledge to teach others? Can we apply our knowledge not just for the benefit of collecting knowledge, but to somehow disseminate and give back knowledge in a meaningful way? This is a card of Aquarius here, and Aquarius, as the water bearer, they're kind of like pouring out the water of knowledge. They're trying to enlighten the world. They're trying to give back knowledge to nourish and to nurture others. This might be something that you are striving for, or you should strive for. But I feel like in this context, it deals with some type of a healing profession. And so for those of you, you might have like a, for example, a 9 to 5 job, and you're just like, I'm not fulfilled here. I'm not happy here. Where else can I go? What other side gig can I do on the side? I would urge you really think about, something in the healing profession, and take courses towards that route. And then you're going to start to feel like, I don't know if, traditional or modern medicine is for me, but I feel like once you get into it, you're highly, highly intuitive. You pick up when people are suffering, and you have a really good heart. And so you will want to help people. And so I feel like in that environment, the reason for being, the reason for you coming to work every day, it's not so much about the money anymore. It's going to be more about who you can help, how you can help, and what emotional satisfaction that brings to you. And once you get yourself to that point, I feel like that's when money is going to be trickling in. That's when financial abundance is going to be highly lit up for you. Okay. So just something to think about, because this came out earlier when I was shuffling. They mentioned like healers, healing professions. They also mentioned like going back to school possibly for these things. The star card, I usually think of it as it's more like mental health more than other things that, like, for example, the Empress, that might deal more with like the physical body, the physical structure. I feel like the star deals more with like spiritual, emotional, mental healing. Okay. So maybe even doing like psychiatry, sociology, human development, things like that. So I feel for many of you, major career shifts, major reassessment when it comes to your career, and trying to figure out what is the best route for me to take. Possibly, if you are self-employed, you might be thinking like, oh, retirement is, down the line. Should I go back to a regular 9 to 5 so that I can have the pension and the benefits? And I feel like you're grappling with this issue because it does, regular 9 to 5 job does infringe upon your freedom, your ability to come and go as you please, but at the same time, it is very stable. And so there's some major back and forth here. reassessment, weighing out the pros and cons as it relates to your financial situation, as it relates to income, as it relates to generating money. Let me just talk a little bit about these two cards, okay? So we have here the Seven of Swords, and the Seven of Swords, I mentioned this for you guys, Geminis. I believe it was last month, like the monthly reading. But anyways, this is, you know, people around you that you're not really sure if you can trust. They see your success and they kind of want to ride your coattails. They see your success and they kind of come out of the woodwork to ask for things, curry favors, okay? And I want you to be really careful because while you're not like, I feel like a lot of Geminis in general, you kind of go through life very lightly, like you tread through life very lightly. And when it comes to interacting with people, if you don't like have a natural, you know, interest in them, you don't really pay that much attention to them. And so be a little bit more discerning about who you are interacting with. And especially, you know, I want to say like, you have a lot of, you are always surrounded by people and you have a lot of things that you're focused on. So your life is very vibrant, it's very robust, and you have a million things around you. So it's difficult for you to kind of hone in on a specific person. But you want to be a little bit careful of people coming out of the woodwork, people trying to curry favors with you, people that have bad intentions even, or people that are just, you know, trying to take advantage of the situation. They see like, oh, you're distracted, you're not looking, and then they want to take things from you. So I want you to be a little bit careful. And I mentioned last month, going back to that, sorry, I got sidetracked. Going back to that, I feel like I mentioned for you guys to keep your ideas close to your chest and not reveal too much, okay? This is kind of like somebody that is like, look what I've got. Look at all of the accomplishments. Look at all my achievements. Look at everything that's happened, you know, like everything that I've created, everything that I've achieved. And so they're telling you to be very careful with communication. Don't expose everything. Keep some things hidden because other people might, you know, intellectual property theft is the first thing that I do see here. Because it seems to me like you're self-employed, you're doing something, creating something, making something, and the idea, the concept, the framework might get stolen, okay? And I feel like this might have happened before, but you want to be careful about that. And we also have here the struggle to reclaim it. The struggle, being met with dead ends, being met with a lot of accusations, even being met with just negative energy, a lot of it coming at the same time, and you feel like you have to fight it back, okay? So I feel that this month, it's a slow down, reassess type of month. We're still in the midst of Mercury retrograde, and that's not going to be, you know, direct until September 5th. But even after September 5th, 2 weeks after, we're still in the post-shadow period. So I want you to be very careful about communication. I want you to be very careful about what you share with other people. Trust the people around you, but if you don't know them well, and if they're all of a sudden inching their way, weaving their way into your inner circle, and they have no business being there, you want to be a little bit careful. You want to, you know, this is not about being like mistrustful, but it's more about being discerning, because I do feel that many of you, you're not very cautious, okay? You might do things, you might say things like you in a very flippant manner, and then, you know, months later it comes back to haunt you and you're just like, I said that? So we want to be very clear and careful with our communication. We want to say things if they serve an immediate purpose in that situation. If not, try to hold back a little bit, okay? Because a lot of the times, Mercury in retrograde, it makes us say things that we later regret, or it puts us in situation where we have to say things. But the policy is to be smart about it, and the policy is sometimes keeping quiet, sometimes silence makes a greater impact than just, noise, right? So, like, such as giving somebody the silent treatment, it means a lot more than if you were to constantly tell them, you did this, you did that. So, I want you to just keep things close to your chest and, be careful about the people around you. I mentioned this for Aquarius as well, theft and things like that. Like this is, but for Aquarius, I feel like it's different. It's in their house. So I feel like for you guys, just be a little bit careful, okay? Here's what's going on. We have here communication. I have a communication of love, messages of love, offers being made to you, and you are keeping very, very quiet. It's almost like you have, A, B, C, D options of love interest, people coming to you, and you're waiting for a different one. So it's like, no, I don't want all these 5 options. I want that one specific person to be the one doing that. So I feel like you're not really responding to a lot of love gestures, to a lot of love offers. This is like freezing up when it comes to communication, taking a little bit of a repose from communicating with somebody who is offering you a lot of love. For others of you, we have here an earth sign. So this is a Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. And this is somebody that you've been eyeing for some time, okay? So you're looking at them. They're distracted with other things. The nature of earth signs is they never find themselves idle. They're always focused on one thing or the next, okay? Not so much people, but like they're keeping themselves productive. So I feel like you're scoping out this person. The sword is turned the other way, so it feels like you're letting your guard down around this person and you're trying to figure out, what are they up to? When are they going to make a move? When are they going to, show me what they want? So I do feel like there might be some miscommunication here with an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. And I also feel that this is a person that is still struggling with their financial foundation. And so if you're dealing with them for this month, let them get their life back on track, because when earth signs, earth is very foundational. When their financial foundation is not stable, that's when they want to be the workaholic. They're going to disappear. They're going to do, they're going to pull overtime. They're going to sleep at the office. And then when they're financially feeling unstable, they don't go out at all. They don't want to spend the money that they might not have. And they also struggle really hard with self-esteem because, the pentacle suit is greatly tied in with the earth sign self-esteem. So I feel that you're dealing with somebody, you might approach a situation differently than, they would, but understanding where they're coming from, giving them a little bit of leeway, and especially being, understanding more than anything, it's going to be very crucial. Okay.